rechts afslaan. Vervolgens rechts afslaan. Afslaan. Vervolgens sla rechtsaf op de rotonde naar Holywell. Sla rechtsaf op de rotonde naar Holywell. Vervolgens op de rotonde neem de derde afslag naar R125. Naar R125.
Your head, even though you didn't have cancer?
Yes. I shaved my head because my husband had cancer. And a couple of people in my locality were going through the same treatment as well. And I just felt I had to do something. So I decided, I went down to our local centre called Lark, who they do treatments and residential care for people going through treatment and their family. And they do like massages and Reiki and they're just amazing people. They're gorgeous. So I talked to the head there, Bernie, and I told her what I was going to do, and she sort of looked at me for the first night and said, "Are you sure you want to do this?" I said, "Yes, I want to do it." So that was April 2 years ago, and I did it in our local pub, Merters, and I raised 5,000.
5,000 euro?
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
So at least I felt I was doing something.
And how did it feel actually getting your hair shaved? Was it?
It was weird. It was kind of. I thought about it for a good while beforehand. I to make sure this was right, and my husband said, "You're very brave," and I said, "It's hair. It'll grow back," and it was my choice. I was lucky. My heart goes out to all those ladies and people who have to go through, not pleasant experiences. But this was my choice to try and help those people. So I went down, and my friend Bridget, she used to be a hairdresser, and she did it in the pub, and of course people were all standing around looking in horror, because I had thick sort of dyed blonde shoulder length hair, and it was just coming off in masses and masses. And but it was a great night, and I had great support, and it was great fun. And yeah, I looked a bit weird and everything else, but sure, I got back pretty quickly, so I was very glad I did it, and I wanted to do it for my husband.
And your husband, did he lose his hair through his treatment as well?
It thinned. He didn't lose it completely. It thinned quite a lot, and like that, he also had a massive thick head of healthy hair. So, but he didn't bother him really. You know, he said it is what it is. He was a very practical man, very practical.
I know you were a long time together. I think 36 years altogether, Lorraine.
Yes, 36 years together. We were 33 years married, and we would have been 34. He died in July, and we were married in November. So yeah, it was tough. It was tough. It was very tough.
And had it been a long road for
Dave? Yeah. In a sense, he'd had cancer 13 years before this time, you know, and it was very, very early pancreatic, and he was very lucky, and it was detected very quickly, and it was only because he was going through other health problems to do with the gallbladder that they had found it. And anyway, he had the operation, everything went well. It was a big operation, you know, but he came through that, and aftercare and treatment and everything else, and he was great. He was doing really well. And then about roughly 13 years later, then it came back in the stomach, and that was quite bad. And he had, I think it was a third or 2/3 of the stomach was removed, and it was a big operation, obviously, and lots of chemo, and it was a very tough time for him. But he was very lucky in the part of the stomach that was removed. He didn't have to use, you know, tube feeds or peg treatments or feeds or anything like that. And he was able gradually to eat fairly normally. Obviously, he had to eat very small amounts first to let his stomach adapt.
Over 1,5 kilometer.
So he was doing very well, and then he was still having a treatment after. And he was good, and then he went back again for more treatment, and they discovered it would spread to the liver. So that was May. You're trying to think, get confused. Yeah, that was May. And then I always remember because we went in, and the team up in Vincent's on the oncology ward, they were just amazing, the people. And the nurse was saying, and he knew himself, the chemo was really bringing him down, and it was so hard on him, and you know, it was horrible. So we went in, and at that stage we both kind of said, we think this is more a matter of time now. We really didn't think this was going well.
Vervolgens gebruik
But we
de
thought
2
6
rechter
months,
rijstroken
and
gaan
then the
rechtdoor
nurse
naar
said,
M1
well,
richting
Dave, what do you think? And he said 6,
Belfast,
and I was thinking the same, and she said, I'm sorry, but she says, we're really looking more like 3.
Gebruik de 2 rechter rijstroken gaan rechtdoor naar M1 richting Belfast, Belborden.
I know 6 is still awful, but it was like, oh my God, we've only half that time left together. So I had to actually leave the ward. I thought, Dave, the lady out here, I
Ga
just
rechtdoor
fear for a
gedurende
second
6
going in.
minuten tot
She's worried.
exit 5,
Because I didn't want to upset
R132
him more.
richting
I just had to go out and have a big cry, obviously. So I came back in, and we sat and chatted and everything, and he was just so calm, and he was just so incredible. And we went home and we talked, and we all discussed the family, and it was his decision, and he didn't want any more treatment. He said, I want to have some little bit of quality of life and enjoy my wife and my son and my grandchildren, and it was beautiful 3 months in lots of ways. And towards the end, we had the palliative care team in who were just unbelievable. I could never thank them enough. They were just incredibly good people. So he was very lucky. I looked after him at home, and he died very peacefully here at home with all of it.
It's, I mean, I can't imagine after, you know, sharing your life for 36 years with somebody to have to accept that and move on.
It was file and go to that file and there's this password and there's this number and get your notebook out and, you know, like thinking ahead all the time. So he was so thoughtful.
I don't want to speed up, but I do want to get to the happy ending here because there is a happy ending for you, Lorraine.
Yes, the most unexpected happy ending.
Yeah.
Ending. About slightly less than a year after he died, I was out with friends and I hadn't been going out very much because I hated coming home to an empty house. And well, I had my animals, which I loved and he loved, so, you know, but he was there, so that was the whole thing. But anyway, I started literally only going out the odd time over a couple of weeks, and I went down to a friend's house one evening, and we were just having a takeaway and that wine, and they said, oh, well, we're just going to go to the local for one, and I said, oh, here, I'll go for one on the way home. So it's a local little rural pub, lovely and everything else, so we went in, and we were just in the bar, and there happened to be a man sitting beside where I was sitting, and they knew him, and they introduced him. So we were chatting, and an hour and a half later, I was looking, oh my God, look at the time. I said, I better go. So I got up to leave, and he said, it was lovely meeting you. And I said, oh, I really enjoyed our chat, and off I went about my business. So when I left, he turned around to my friend, and he said, oh, your friend's a lovely woman. And she's pretty cheeky. She said, well, why don't you ask her out?
Lorraine, I'm going to have to cut short and to the very, very end and tell people that
we went out and we're still together. And he's a lovely kind man.
Lorraine, I'm delighted to hear that. I'm sure your Dave would love to hear it too, and we could be happy for you. On your first night out, talk about you shoot your score.
Furthest thing from my mind, I can tell you.
Lorraine, thanks so much for sharing all of that with us. And Susan, thank you so much.
Talk to Joe on 0818 715 815.
When I'm wearing tenor, bladder weakness is the last thing on my mind. Their secure fit design gives me the confidence to live my life the way I want to. Their liners, pads and underwear give me up to 100% tenor triple protection against odor, leaks and moisture. And you can't even tell I'm wearing them. Try Tenor, available in Tesco, Dunn's, Super Value and leading pharmacies. Tenor, the world's leading incontinence brand. Euromonitor 2024, retail adult incontinence, RSP value sales. If you're worried about bladder weakness, always speak to your GP.
Join me, David McCullough, Katie Hannon, and me, Fran McNulty, for a new podcast from RTE News,
Where we'll be discussing the stories of the day from home and abroad.
as we talk to reporters with the inside track and guests with expert analysis, looking at what's happening and why, asking the questions you're thinking. Behind the Story, an RTE News podcast, available now on RTE Radio Player and wherever you get your podcasts.
Now, let's get into it.
Liveline on RTE Radio 1, sponsored by Harry Curry. Revamp your home this May with our fresh new curtain and bedding designs. Discover comfort and style for every room.
Talk to Joe on 0818 715 815.
And I think we just have time to go back to Paul, this story we were talking about at the top of the programme about Donegal and Kerry and all that. Paul, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, here. How are you? I have a bone to pick with you.
Go on.
Well, if I was a stranger and I came in and I turned on the radio and listened to yourself and Martin in Donegal, you'd think there was only two counties in Ireland, Kerry and Donegal, both from a tourist point of view and a football point of view. And I'm very annoyed when I heard all this because every county has its own natural beauty, but I think Kerry and West Cork get unfair publicity and promotion from Water.
Neem de afslag links naar exit 5, R132 richting Balrothery.
My county, we have the Yates, Countess and Architects, the Liddell House, the beautiful Loughill, Lake Ballyvinishfree, the Ox Mountains, the Majestic, Pinbolvan, beautiful
Over
beaches,
200 meter.
Hill,
Op de rotonde neem de derde afslag naar R132.
I could go on and on.
Vervolgens op de rotonde neem de eerste afslag. Op de rotonde neem de derde
Sligo,
afslag.
poor Sligo.
Vervolgens op de
Nobody ever says
rotonde neem
anything
de
about
eerste
Sligo.
afslag naar
No, it's always Kerry
R132.
and West Cork. Kerry with the most expensive hotels in the country.
Oh, no.
Yes. I know. I was there. I know. Believe me, I know.
Op de rotonde neem de
Well, look,
eerste afslag.
if you're going to be booking into the
Vervolgens
hotel
op de
Europe,
rotonde neem de
what can
tweede
I do for
afslag
you?
naar
By the way,
R132.
Katie, I got political asylum in Galway. I'm living in Galway now. And we have the beautiful Connemara as well, you know, which rarely gets a mention. So,
You're not seriously telling me that Connemara doesn't get a good mention for the tourists?
no, it gets a mention, all right, but not nothing like Kerry and West Cork. I mean, I do
Over
Airbnb here in
900
Galway.
meter. Ga
And
rechtdoor op de rotonde.
everybody that comes here, they're not heading to the northwest, they're heading to Kerry and West Cork. You know, that is true.
Okay, well, big shout out, Paul. Okay, shout out for Sligo and all the...
I need it from more than you. I need it from Port Forge or whatever they're called nowadays.
Forge Ireland.
Forge Ireland. I don't know. They're not doing enough for us.
Okay, right. Okay, we put it out there now anyway. Paul,
Okay, thanks for squeezing me in.
Thanks, Paul.
Talk to Joe on 0818 715 815.
Liveline on RTE Radio 1, sponsored by Harry Curry. Visit one of our 44 stores across Ireland for quality curtains and bedding at great prices. Find your perfect style today. Meet Mike. He's here to tell you why you should switch to Outsurance and save on your car insurance.
Hi, I'm Mike from County Kerry. I made the switch to Outsurance and saved €143. I'm also on my way to getting 10% cashback with our out bonus.
Like the sound of that? For a competitive car insurance quote like Mike's, call 1-800-600-400 or visit outsurance.ie. Real people, unreal savings. Outsurance. You always get something out. Based on a like-for-like policy comparison, the customer received a gratuity for their participation. Out bonus calculated less taxes and levies. Exceptions, criteria, terms and conditions apply. Car and home insurance is underwritten by Outsurance DAC. Outsurance DAC trading as Outsurance is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
The Euro Millions jackpot is an estimated €155 million. Play responsibly, in-store, in-app, or at lottery.ie. The National Lottery. It could be you.
Over 1 kilometer.
It's almost 3 o'clock on RTE Radio 1 with Drop and Go parking at Dublin Airport. Effortless concierge parking available at both terminals.
Talk to Joe on 0818 715 815.
And that is all we have time for today. Go out there now and enjoy the weather, or don't. You've got to hang on for Ray. Kieran Dunn was on sound today. Research was by Richie Byrne and Owen McLaughlin produced. So stay tuned now. Ray's coming up next.
Liveline on RTE Radio 1, sponsored by Harry Curry. Revamp your home this May with our fresh new curtain and bedding designs. Discover comfort and style for every room.
Talk to Joe on 0818 715 815 or send your WhatsApp voice notes to 087 484 8888.
Thanks very much, Katie. 3 o'clock on RTE Radio 1. Time to go to our newsroom now to Ray Kennedy.
Thank you, Ray. Good afternoon from the newsroom. The Hamas-run Civil Defense Agency has said at least 103 people have died in the Gaza Strip following the latest wave of Israeli airstrikes. Palestinian medics said that many of the victims, including women and children, were killed in the southern city of Han Yunis, while 13 died in a strike on the Jabalia refugee camp. Israel has claimed that facilities in Han Yunis were being used as strongholds by the militant group Hamas. On RTE Radio, Christian Lindemeyer, a spokesperson for the World Health Organization, called on Israel to lift the aid blockade that is depriving the people of Gaza of the most basic humanitarian needs and starving to death.
You have elderly not making it anymore, not being able to leave places where they have been chased out from. So you have a horrific scenario. It's really difficult to paint that picture ahead of time, but the worst scenarios we've seen from around the world with hunger, catastrophes and famines, this is what people in Gaza are facing now, and it's so easy to stop it. We just need to end the aid blockade, which is against all humanitarian principles, and let the supplies in.
Ukraine has indicated that it would reassess its options following a decision by the Russian President Vladimir Putin not to attend peace talks in Turkey today. The Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and his Turkish counterpart Recep Tayyip Erdogan have been meeting in Ankara. Delegations from Russia and Ukraine are currently in Turkey for negotiations. Earlier, Mr. Zelensky accused Russia of sending what he called stand-in props and a sham. The Russian foreign minister countered his remarks by calling President Zelensky a clown and a loser. On Taoiseach and Minister for Foreign Affairs Simon Harris has called on the European Union and the United States to engage in talks on how best to tackle the imposition of tariffs by the Trump administration. Mr. Harris was speaking in Brussels, where he has been meeting the European Commissioner for Trade, Maroš Šefčovič, and EU trade ministers. He noted that while the EU is willing to talk to the US, the bloc would protect its own interests. Agri-food, medtech and aviation are among the sectors of particular concern to Ireland in terms of the imposition of tariffs. The remaining 10 competitors for Eurovision 2025 will be decided at the second semi-final in the Swiss city of Basel tonight. Ireland is represented by the Norwegian singer Emmy, who will perform the song Like a Party. A total of 26 countries will perform in the final on Saturday. Security has been tightened around the venue against a backdrop of controversy over Israel's participation in the contest. The semi-final will be broadcast live on RTE2 television and on the RTE player from 8 o'clock tonight.
RTE Radio 1 weather with Grant. Stay ahead with the new Grant Arona R290 heat pump, delivering next-generation comfort to your home. Visit grant.ie.
Dry and sunny this afternoon with a light east to northeast breeze. Highest temperatures 18 to 24 degrees, warmest in the west. That's all we have for now. Over to you, Ray.
Thanks, Ray. Thanks very much.
The Ray Darcy Show on RTE Radio 1.
Good afternoon on this Thursday afternoon. 51551 for text, 087 032 32 32 for WhatsApps, or ray@rte.ie. We've a man called Michael Fewer, and he's the author of a new book, Ireland's Curious Places, 100 Fascinating Lesser-Known Treasures to Discover. It is a brilliant book. It's a brilliant book. So 100 things from around the country, divided into the 4 provinces, with pictures alongside, and then descriptions, and even the coordinates, how to get them. And I really loved this book. So enjoyable, and you can dip into it. Did you know we have a round tower? That is our leaning tower of Pisa. No, you didn't know that? There's upside down lighthouses, there's pyramids, there's swinging bridges, there's all sorts of things all over the country, little hidden gems. And Michael Fewer is coming in to give us a guided tour through them all. And if you know one, it's probably in the book. But if there is something in your area, sort of a lesser known treasure, one of Ireland's curious places, get it into us, 51551 or 087 032 32 32. And all the talk is about the second semi-final in this year's Eurovision Song Contest, and we'll be talking to Michael Keeley, who's RTE's head of delegation. He's in Basel, obviously, and has been there for some time, and we'll be talking to him in this hour as well. And yesterday we told you about Amy, and our Niamh had discovered Amy on TikTok, and she was boasting on TikTok that she may have one of the oldest balloons in Ireland, a 20-year-old balloon.
Over 100 meter.
It's a Winnie the
Je
Pooh
komt
balloon.
aan op je bestemming bij Ardgillan.
And then we put out the call, of course, does Amy have the oldest balloon in Ireland? Well, as you would imagine, in these things, people want to be the best, the oldest, whatever. So we've got a number of people onto us, and we're going to be talking to them after 4 o'clock. But if you think you have an old balloon in your possession, and you want to be involved in our quest to find Ireland's oldest balloon, do get in touch. 51551 or 087 032 32 32. The good weather continues. I was talking to somebody today and said, don't hex it. Don't hex it. I was saying it's here for 7 days. Don't say that. Don't say that. As if what I say or what you say or what anybody says can affect the weather. Or maybe it does. Maybe how we say it and what we say doesn't.